Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Jace Beleren Must Die. It's been forever, or at least it feels like it has. Well, except Masood. Masood and I hang out all the time, but everybody else, I've missed you. Carlos, how was the move? And I ask you this so you have an opportunity to talk about it before Masood derails the conversation. We start talking about reality TV. How was your move? How's it going?
It was good. It was good. We moved last Wednesday, and we packed everything ourselves, and it was really cool because it was my first grown-up move. Like all the other moves before this were like, hey, are you free next week? I really want to hang out. Psych, you're going to help me move. And this is my first grown-up one where like I had a company come and like move all my stuff cross country, and they picked up my car and they moved that, and like it was pretty cool. But right now I'm in a very empty.
Yeah, I can see you're living that glamorous West Coast life. You have stairs in your house, which is you've changed, Carlos. Stairs. You've changed.
I love it so much. I love having stairs. No, I don't care at all. I lived on the third floor, so whatever. But yeah, I don't have anything right now. Like right now, I am streaming. This is my phone inside a box.
Hell yeah.
Like the wall is right here. I just look very ridiculous. But yeah, it's cool. Like I'm in a new area. Like I was telling these guys that I get up in the morning and I go for a run now. Like I haven't run in like
God, you're so California now.
Forever. It happened. 1 week. It's all it took.
Well, this is the thing though, like about habits. Like you have to like if you change one thing, if you want to get rid of a habit, you should add another one, right? So like I got rid of Chicago. I got rid of that bad habit. And I need to replace. Oh, I'm sorry. Are any of you guys from Chicago? Because I heard it sucks.
What a heel turn.
Instantly. You've changed, man. You've just changed.
Changed. What, do you go to juice bars now?
Things I previously professed to like, I now hate.
This is the happiest hipster moment of my life.
I go for a run, and it's like, and when I go for a run, I'm literally at like the entrance to a trail up a mountain. So what I'll do is like I'll hike up a mountain in the morning and like see the gorgeous city, and I'm just like, oh, I love it. And then I have to go back to this empty apartment that makes it look like I'm in train spotting. So whatever.
I always like that first couple of weeks of living in a new place where you don't really know the neighborhood. And I do a ton of just like walking around and taking photos and stuff. So I get bored with the neighborhood I live in. And the circle has to just keep widening until I'm like 45 minutes away from my house, just looking for something I haven't looked at 1,000 times. So that initial period of like everything is new and I have no idea where anything is or what's going on is a pretty nice time. I like it quite a lot.
It's so good. Like I really like. I did a lot of research. Like I came out here and met was shown a lot of apartments before we settled on this one. And it's so good because like there's literally a grocery store on the corner, like a big ass grocery store like on the corner, so I can just like walk there whenever I want. And I didn't think that was going to be such a huge game changer, but it is, guys. It is. So that's the exciting thing. I'm really excited. The adult stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
No cool toys. I don't have any cool toys.
Grocery store in an empty apartment.
Yeah, grocery store in an empty apartment. This is what you have to look forward to, people.
Have you managed to do a cartwheel yet?
Yeah, I did a cartwheel.
With a master like Serena teaching you.
I know, right?
Cartwheel. I can do a cartwheel. I'll do a cartwheel after the break. How about that? Stay tuned.
Do you remember the preparatory hop? Do you remember to hop before you do it? You have to hop.
That's the thing. Like Serena's not very snooty or snotty about anything, but for whatever reason, she thought it was so funny that she was just like, "Can you do a cartwheel?" And I was like, "That's a weird question." I'm like, "No, I can't." Like I was like, "No, I can't." She's like, "Really? You can't do a cartwheel?" Blah blah blah. I'm like making fun of me, and our apartment was empty. And she's like, "I'm going to do one." And I just took out the phone. I'm like, "Let's see this perfect fucking cartwheel." Have you ever seen the episode of The Office where Creed does a cartwheel? exactly the same.
I knew it seemed familiar to me. Yeah.
I showed
Creed doing a cartwheel. It's exactly
there is something so satisfying about that feeling of having someone brag about a thing and then totally prove that their bragging was pointless, that it meant nothing, that like hold my beer and they immediately burst into flames. Like
yeah, I showed that video to my husband and he was like, oh my God. And I was like, yeah, watch for the moment when she realizes that she's terrified of being upside down.
The first day I switched high schools between my sophomore and junior year, and I went to like a fame-esque performing arts high school for the rest of my high school. The first day of movement class, Candy Brown is her name. She walked in with a whip and she demanded that we do cartwheels across the floor, and I didn't know how to do cartwheels.
Wait,
and she
plural?
was like,
God, theater school is a trip.
multiple ones across the floor.
Nah.
And I didn't know how to do them, and she made me cry. That was
Wow.
my first
And
day
this was
movement class.
and this was
at
your
Performing Arts
teacher?
High school. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
Did you end up learning them for the final?
I did have to learn how to do cartwheels. There was also a day,
really?
Adam, you'll like this one, where they turned all the lights off and we had to sit there with our arms out and call out for our parents because it was like accessing an inner emotional truth to be wanted.
I'm sorry, Katie Mae, I think what you're describing might not have been high school. I think instead you were in a Scientology cult. So
I needed a therapist.
I think,
afterwards.
yeah,
Let's
you need to be
perfectly
careful. How are your
honest.
Thetans doing?
Jonestown High School?
Yeah.
I was so
It's
I
weird.
was-
Tom Cruise came and gave the speech at my graduation. We shouldn't be making fun of Scientology. Carlos is in their zone of influence now, so let's just
We gotta
keep.
be worried about that kind of thing.
That's
Guys,
right.
it's fine. There's just a Church of Scientology along his run. He stops by in the morning.
I was so sure that you were going to finish that sentence with give Goku your energy, and you didn't. And I'm actually a little disappointed. Like, I
would
didn't
go-
expect to be, but I am.
Chat, it was a bullwhip, just so you know.
Like an
Just
Indiana Jones
picture it
style.
honestly.
Big,
Horrible.
yeah.
That's the
That's
worst
not
thing I've
She was
ever
one of the
heard.
original Fosse dancers, so I guess you just can't. I guess
That's
you
not an
can't just, like,
excuse
give
to be
notes.
mean to children.
Oh, for sure not.
Are you trying to drown that child in a sewer? Shut up, officer. I went to the Juilliard.
It's not child endangerment. It's art.
But like, okay, so this actually brings up a good point. 10 years from now, what will people be referencing as like in their career that like allows them to carry a bullwhip around, you know, like I was in Crossroads with Britney Spears.
I did Jace Beleren Must Die.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah, we were on the frontier of streamed actual plays.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is a strange thing to imagine, though, that like, yeah, what will you be known for? What will be the thing that you use as your excuse to behave badly in the future when you're like 80? You can't talk to me like that. I was fill in the blank, and that's your life's purpose now. Good.
I drank a lot of kombucha when I was young. Choices were
I
made.
drank a lot of kombucha.
It's like the flower child thing. It's like, look, it was the 70s.
Yeah, it's like lead poison.
Yeah, it's like, look, it was the 2020s. We drank kombucha willingly.
I was listening to a podcast a little while ago that was talking about how they think that the reason why there were so many serial killers in the 70s was because of all the lead in the air, because of gas. So like sometimes those things are actually an excuse for these things. Where it's like, it's just there's certain things that we didn't know at the time, and now we know. And
man, white people get away with the craziest stuff.
Thank you, Carlos.
right.
we're breathing, so it's okay that we're killers now.
I think it wasn't.
It is weird.
I don't
right?
think it was so much. I don't think it was so much like it's okay. It was more like we made a horrible mistake and poisoned everybody. Thank God we're not doing that anymore.
I just think it's so funny.
But it is
because
funny.
There's also like a million black people that went to work on time.
It's like watching the
Commit
Joker
murder?
movie.
Yeah.
It's like watching Joker and being like, I guarantee there's a black man somewhere in this town that's got it 10 times worse than you, Joaquin Phoenix. He's not putting on clown makeup and killing people.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. There's a really good, speaking of that exact situation, there's a really good video someone made of the filming of that dancing on the stairs scene. And he's clearly just at work in his office, which happens to be next to them filming it. And he's filming it. And his voiceover for it is so good. He's just like, what the fuck craziness is this? What are they doing out there? What is going on here? And then he gets some of his friends. They come over and they're like, what's this guy doing? What are they doing out there? It's really good.
Perfection.
What's this nonsense?
I'm so glad that I live in a part of the country that nobody wants to come to. It's amazing. Even the movie Elizabethtown wasn't filmed here. It's great. And it's about the city I live next to.
Yeah, no, you can't film a movie about the place in the place unless that place is New York. Otherwise, you have to go elsewhere. And even sometimes if it's New York, it's really Chicago. So it's fine. Yeah. All right, Masood, I promised that you'd have an opportunity. Please. What have you been watching, Masood?
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I guess?
Oh,
Is it Love is Blind?
it is Love is Blind.
Yes!
Oh, how'd I know?
Oh, good.
Oh, I hate it.
I was planning on talking about it, and see, I didn't watch it, so you guys have to tell me I'm good for not watching it.
No,
But
no,
if
no,
you
no.
actually watched it, I will watch it, and so we can
Please
talk.
watch it. It's
Okay.
everything it's equal parts 90 Day Fiance, Love at First Sight, and
Right.
all the trash you've been wishing to consume. It is
Okay.
so good, especially because afterwards I have these real strong feelings about hating certain individuals, which is like nice to feel, because then I immediately went to Twitter and I was like, oh good, I'm not alone on this hate for this and the vitriol I'm feeling. It is very heteronormative. I'm just going to put that out there. Yeah, that is the biggest downside I think to it. But the rest of it,
So what's the premise?
so
It's
much another-
hetero nonsense.
it's too much hetero nonsense. You know how the circle was inadvertently a social experiment? These people
Yeah.
from the get-go are like, this is an experiment where if people enter these, like they do speed dating with a collection of people, like a huge selection of women and a huge selection of men speed date together. But when they meet, they are in two different rooms that are separated by a thin wall. And so they have to talk to each other through this wall to get to know one another. And then at the end of 5 days,
They
get
have to
to
guess who was blind.
yes, that's the twist.
It
Yeah.
sounds like it's the same. What was that dating show from the 60s where everybody was behind the wall and they were like,
Yeah.
contestant number 3, if you
Was
were a
it the
tree.
dating game?
The
Was it
dating
called the
game.
dating game? Yeah.
It's basically
It sounds
I always
like
loved that show
dating game.
because of the way that they were forced to answer the questions, where it was like, whatever the question you were asked, you had to find a way to make it about sex. Where it was like,
Yeah.
if you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be? And they're like, a good at sex tree?
Yeah.
oak because they fuck the best.
Yeah, and she's just like, yes.
Oak
I'd be a
attractive.
mighty
Yeah.
oak, baby. Like,
but that's
I
only the
guess.
first part of the show, guys. Afterwards,
Okay, so they can't see each other, and then
They-
they have to pick each other after
This is
5
Netflix.
days.
no,
This
no,
is
no. 5
Yes,
days
this
they
is a
chat.
Netflix
There's
show.
on Netflix. 5 days they chat with one another. At the end of 5 days, you get to decide if you want to propose to the other person. And so propose.
Wow.
And
Propose
then their
what?
marriage, Carlos, not a
Oh,
business.
God.
yeah, keep up, Carlos. Keep up.
Sorry.
And then they
A legal and financial commitment.
to Cancun, Mexico. Throughout this entire period, you're then in Mexico for like in Cancun with this other person for I believe like a week. So you get 5 days in the pods, a week in Cancun, Mexico, and then they give you your phones back and be like, now you have to live together. And guess what? In 4 weeks, you're getting married. There's a 4-week like engagement period.
Are you allowed to bail out during those 4 weeks? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah,
So it's not just
absolutely.
like you get, okay.
You got, but the
Why
question is, who does and who doesn't, and like who do you really see afterward? Like
If you get married, is there a prize or
the love of your life, Adam,
that doesn't sound like a prize to me.
and exposure. You get a lot of exposure.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You get to plug your Instagram.
That's so it's so weird. I feel like they should just cut that 4 weeks and be like, you're getting married right now. Like,
Right?
you know, like I feel like the 4 weeks, everyone would just bail out. They'd be like, all right, well, I took a guess and now we're gonna try to get to know each other. I feel like
They
there'd be
would
like
get
no
enough
marriages.
B-roll.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's part of the drama and the trash of it is seeing these people like have these intense relationships start because all you're doing is having deep emotional conversations with the intent, like like the purpose of the conversation is, are you a partner that I could marry? And you're doing it in a closed environment for like 5 days. So that's all you're thinking about. That's all you're assuming from this individual. And then you go with some way nice and wonderful where you don't have any stress and like all these other things where you can just like engage and like have sex with this person you built this emotional connection to, or don't have sex, which is its own drama-filled nightmare.
Drama-filled. So here's how I would make this show just a little bit better.
Yes, tell me.
Carlos said it.
I would be having them meet with psychologists at that time to rate how happy they are in the beginning when they're going through this dating, and then also how happy they are when they're together. And the person who has managed the most happiness would win the game.
Yeah.
To an actual direct competition. Yes.
Yeah, I do kind of love that all of the things that used to happen in like the 60s at Berkeley are now just TV shows. Like, I got this idea for sure. We're going to round a bunch of people up. We're going to give them a ton of LSD and then, I don't know, just fuck with them and see what happens. I'm going to call it MK Ultra, the show. Like, yeah, it's going to be backed by the CIA. It's going to be a whole thing. It'll be really fun. Yeah. But I guess the thing is that's what makes it fun to watch, where you're just like, cool, I'm not them. Let's watch them fall apart.
Ooh. But then you get the ones that you root for and the people you think were like, will any of you actually watch it? I'm looking particularly at you, Katie May. If you will sit down.
Cool.
Almost watched it yesterday and didn't, and now I have to because you are, and so now we have to talk about it next week. So yes, I will be watching.
There will be 10 hours of content will have been released. Yeah.
Yeah, it's seasonal affective disorder season. So yeah. More slop, please.
Hell yeah.
And the people who are running this experiment are definitely people who are known for having long-term stable relationships, correct?
Yeah. I believe so, and or just producers for Love at First Sight, which was a lifetime.
It's okay. I know it's
show.
Nick Lachey. So
Oh yeah. Nick and Vanessa Lachey are the hosts, and they do nothing.
Good.
Why do I know that name? Who is he? Was he a Backstreet Boy?
He was in 98 Degrees.
There you go.
Jessica
he
Simpson.
used to be married to Jessica Simpson.
They had
that guy. Okay.
They had a
Yes,
TV
that
show.
guy.
Yes.
That guy.
The guy who has been routinely defined by the people he has been married to or not married to.
Yep. Nick Lachey. Wow. I have like a perfect mental image of him, and I don't.
No, you don't
need that. I do, but not of how he looks now. Like
98
degrees
like,
version of him. Yeah.
I guarantee you're thinking of someone from Backstreet Boys.
No, that's great. Yeah, I like that idea that whoever I have in my head is actually someone else, and you're like, that's how it works with Nick Lachey.
This is just Joey Fatone.
Because I'm thinking of Nick Lachey, a person who was marketed specifically to my generation and perceived gender, and I know that I'm actually thinking of AJ from Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh wait,
That's fair.
I'm sorry, AJ from NSYNC.
Yeah. Oh no, you know what? I was
The
thinking
other
of.
NSYNC guy.
I was thinking of everyone in Menudo at once. That's who I was. It was all of the boys from Menudo.
I know.
That's
I'm
what-
thinking of young Phil
Yes.
Collins.
Young Phil Collins is your new rapper name. There you go.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah. So I have before we get started today, I have something. We have a new feature in Roll20 that I know has an intended purpose, but we have to use it for a completely different one before we begin. So the new token markers have been rolled out, and you can use them for exciting and productive things in combat, like applying spell effects and showing who's got advantage and what have you. But as was pointed out to me earlier, the best way to use these is to play a quick game of who's hot and who's not using the new token markers. So we're going to have to go through the characters we have on the board here and come to a bit of an agreement about each one. And now some of these are going to be real easy. Others, I think there's going to be a bit of spirited debate.
You just selected Jace on the screen, so that's a not.
Yeah, Jace is not only a not, which we've indicated with the thumbs down symbol, but also we've added this little puking emoji to show just how much we hate his weird one boob
major
shirt.
not.
Yeah,
a major
a
not.
hecky not.
Major not.
I believe the official name of this emoji is "Gag Me with a Spoon," and so yes, so that one's easy.
Oh, you got a lot of hotties on here.
Let's talk about Ral Zarek, bold young inventor. He is a mover and shaker, a bit of a rebel at the Is It League. What do we think, everybody? Is Ral Zarek hot or no hot?
I have a weakness for silver streaks in hair. So for me, that's hot. On the other hand, I do not find Doctor Strange, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, as hot.
Yeah.
So you see my
You're
dilemma.
right. That's all I've been picturing, and I didn't realize that until now. But
He
that
does.
is what
He
I've been
does have
picturing.
big dick energy, so that's fine. That makes sense.
Also, Ral to me throughout our entire time just feels like real middle management planeswalker energy, and
Yeah.
do it for me, you know?
He doesn't feel very like assertive, even though he really wants to be. He's got like a
His
real forgive me beta male energy.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
His relationship with
That's
Niv.
gross.
His relationship with
It
Niv
was
Mizzet
disgusting.
does imply that he is not. He's if you're looking for career ambition on like a traditional track, Ral might not be the boy for you, right? He is kind of operating outside the league's structures. He does have. We know he has a positive relationship with Jace, which I think knocks him down a point or two.
Mhm.
But
And he has a positive question mark relationship
He just
with
seems like the type
Comic.
that's just not gonna let me forget that he went to Yale. So I'm a no.
That's
Ooh,
okay. So
yeah.
we have a thumbs. We have a thumbs down from
Yeah.
Katie May.
Yeah, he
I-
definitely
yeah.
inherited his planeswalkerness from his dad. And now
Yeah.
he runs the dealership, right? He runs
Yeah.
like he doesn't want to be there, but it's his dad's dealership, and his dad's getting old, so now he
Yeah.
runs it.
Yeah.
And he's also like trying to be a criminal on the set. I don't
Yeah,
like, no.
Yeah.
I see that. He's kind of got a like Cillian Murphy in Inception vibe where he's like, I'm trying to make it on my own. It's like, you asshole, you
Yeah.
have billions of dollars. Yeah, so like he built
Cillian
his
Murphy.
skills off of Niv Mizzet, and now he's trying to rebel against Daddy. So yeah,
Yeah.
I feel that.
Oh, wait, hold on.
He
Yeah.
thought he
But-
was
but
going to
does
be head of the fraternity because he was likable, but then he wasn't
He's the
elected
kind
head of
of-
the fraternity, and now he's mad.
He's
But
the kind of
also-
person. He's the kind of person whose LinkedIn, Facebook, Tinder, and Twitter profile picture are all the same. They're the same picture.
I'm gonna have to say it. The game is hot or not, though.
It's true.
Not,
You're
like,
right.
would
You
hang
are
out
right.
That's true.
And
Well, right.
honestly-
okay.
Not.
So
Yeah,
like-
you're right. It's not attractive. It's not worthiness.
Yeah.
And honestly, he has great fashion sense, and that's a hot to me.
okay. All right. Okay. So we have one in each
I'm
direction.
gonna go with hot.
Carlos going with hot.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we
Yeah.
got two and one. So what do you think, Masood?
I'm gonna
You're
be
the tiebreaker.
Yeah, so
I'm
I
the-
guess if
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the tiebreaker, as much as I hate everything about his personality, I think I'm gonna have to go
Yeah.
with hot for
It's
Ralph.
like,
Yeah.
I think
You
I'm
would
gonna
be
have to give him the thumbs
ashamed,
up.
but you'd still hit
That's
it.
fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
trophy boyfriend for sure. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
It's like-
Ral
I
gets
can
Ral
see
gets
it.
a thumbs up.
It's definitely
I
a like,
think-
don't tell anyone we're dating.
I think
type
our
of
next one. I think
relationship.
our next one should be a
Hot.
clean sweep. Liliana
that's
the
it.
Necromancer.
Hot,
I
yes.
think hot across the
Yeah.
board. Yeah. Okay.
Hot, like scary, but like scary hot.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
We're not
yeah.
we're not
Yes.
measuring types
Yep.
of hot, but definitely
Heal me,
yeah.
please, hot.
Yeah.
That's right. Queen of the Little
Step
Death.
on my face with your spiked boots hot.
Good. I'm glad we're in agreement on Liliana. That's an easy one. Okay. So let's talk about Judith. So hot mom, the mominatrix of the Rakdos cult. What do we think? Here, let me give you the art a little higher here. So
Oh dang, hot.
she's literally sitting on her like hot dude
Hot.
parade. So okay, we got a hot from TK.
Is she wearing
The
is she
leg
wearing
cross.
heels? Or,
Like,
yes.
yeah.
An essential like
Oh my
cross.
gosh, the horned headdress.
Uh-huh. What do you think, Carlos?
Oh my God,
Where are you
what
going to
is
weigh
that?
in on Judith?
The Scourge Diva.
Do those horns work though?
For
So
what?
te-
with
technically,
the outfit,
Judith-
or are they functional?
Judith is a human being, so that's a hat that she's wearing. Those aren't real
Okay.
horns.
a dope hat.
It is a dope hat, yes.
Yeah.
Can you believe she's just a human?
Yeah.
Crazy.
But in a world where
Crazy.
Remember,
minotaurs
though-
are a thing, is it appropriative?
Oh,
They don't look like Minotaur horns. I think that they're in emulation of her Dark Master Rakdos. She's also in that
Oh,
case
okay.
spoken
Well,
for. So if that's a factor for you, she's in a
Hot for
Sure.
Torgor.
committed
for
relationship
her.
with with her
Yeah,
demon
she's-
overlord.
Because then
like
it's
Rakdos.
secret.
Everyone in Rakdos isn't.
I don't know.
Like that is. Come on.
That course
Serial
Not
monogamists,
doing it
the
right.
Rakdos.
Yeah.
She is down to torture for sure.
Uh-huh.
So
I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to say not.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's
well, we
okay.
still.
I appreciate it.
I do think
Yeah, my wish
I think she's a badass, but Latex Mom is not really my vibe either. So I will also
Yeah.
say not. But unfortunately, Carlos,
fair.
we are out. It sounds like we're outnumbered by the other
Oh,
three, and I
man.
think Judith gets the hot pass.
A tepid hot,
Yeah, right. Like a
tepid.
a lukewarm.
yeah, like like a little hot. I wonder if
I
I
would
have.
still drink this tea.
I wonder if I have an icon I can use as a lukewarm hot. I'll figure it out.
It's like
Uh-huh.
I would drink this cup of tea, but I would not get into this bathtub.
There.
That type of hot.
Mhm.
Here we go. Good. So
Tip at a
hot,
time.
but with a we're still thinking about it. All right, good,
Okay.
good. Okay, cool.
If she kills Torgor, it's an instant hot. That's
Wow.
the thing, though.
Actually, yes.
100%.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, yes.
Okay, I'm glad we all agree.
Even hotter.
Yeah.
All right, so we only
Breaks the
saw
scale.
these two briefly at the
Yes.
Ravnican equivalent of the Met Gala.
Hot.
Do we want to rank Teza and Kaya as a unit, or do we want to treat them? We don't know them as individuals yet.
no,
so.
One
no.
way or the other, they're getting a
individually-
hot from me.
Yeah.
I say individually because Kaya is hotter than Teza, but if they are ranked together, is that like them as a couple?
Yeah, I think we have to rate. I mean, what's their couple name? Taya, Kaisa.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this one. I
Kaisa?
think they get a unit together. Yeah, yeah,
Then
rather than
hot.
individual. Yeah, you think
I would
hot?
say collectively hot then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Kaya's hotness is enough to carry Teza's
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I was about to say. Yeah.
lukewarmness.
Mhm.
Kaya is definitely settling out of this relationship.
Because I feel like Teza doesn't have enough personality in her.
Yeah,
card for
Teza
me to
is
really-
definitely bringing like institutional benefit to the relationship, and that she's
Yeah.
like she's got all the power in the org, but Kaya's got the power in the relationship. Yeah, which is
Yeah.
a nice balance. All right, cool.
Teza, you definitely like would take home to your parents
Yeah.
for like holidays and
Especially
stuff.
if your parents are
but
vampires.
Kaya.
Kaya, you take home.
Yeah.
Hey, hey.
Hello.
Nice. Good. All right. So them as a unit, we'll give them the go ahead on being hot. Excellent. All right. So here's a hard one. This is going to be a tricky one because it's so tied to somebody else. Tomic.
No,
Tomic,
not hot.
distinguished advocate, hot or not hot? He does
Not
have
hot.
kind of like a Biff from Back to the Future look about him. He's a lawyer, and yeah, my personal vote is
Yeah,
not
exactly.
hot
That's
for
a not.
Tomic.
That's
I
a
think
not
Tomic's
hot.
a no-go.
I'll
for
be
me.
honest.
You know what? He looks like Jake Paul. That's a not
Good
hot
for
for
you,
me.
Masood.
He kind of, as I look at him, he looks like a, I don't know, like a. Who's the Hermes? Was that the really fast god? And
Yeah,
like I'm
yes.
getting that kind of
Yeah,
vibe off
yeah.
him, and I'm like
But would you
like
put
lean.
him?
Yeah.
Look at our hot and not hot charts. Would you consider him to be Liliana's peer in hotness?
Oh,
Well,
that's
so
a good-
here's an issue. We're
hotness is a broad spectrum. You can
Right,
be at the
it's-
bottom of hot or the top of hotness.
Yeah,
like, I don't think
but-
Liliana and Ral are the same level of hot.
no.
Oh yeah, that's
Just
true.
like I don't think Tomic and Jace are the same level of not hot. I just think,
Oh,
yeah,
no.
he's got
It's like
Dolph
he plays
Lundgren
one-
face.
No.
And
He's
I'm not into it.
boring.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You
if his
could be with
quote is-
anyone. Why would you be with Tomic?
Is his quote trying to speak to me? I don't know.
Right.
Some bend the law. I tie
tied
it
it.
into knots. I like bending. I like knots.
Yes.
You know what? You know, fair.
Look at all
He's
those
trying to say-
scrolls in
Look,
his
I've
hand.
even got a little BDSM
Oh, the
icon.
DTF icon.
Yeah, I can put
Yes,
a little
yes, yes,
a little
yes.
BDSM icon on him there.
Yes.
I think that's a safe assumption. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
and you know
I
what?
agree,
It's
I
like
agree.
I can appreciate it, but it's not hot to me.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards not hot. Yeah.
He's not
Say-
hot.
I say
He's
yes,
not
but
hot.
that's my opinion.
I tried. But
Yeah, yeah.
He's not hot.
All right. Tomic is not Ral is hot.
He's my friend's like little brother who's like just hit puberty. He's not
Yeah,
hot, right?
he's definitely had a crush on you for the last few years, but you're just like
the vibe I get from Tomic is like the bully that's in the closet that picks on the gay kids because he can't come to terms.
Oh,
Like,
I hate that
Gross,
trope.
gross,
That's so
gross,
gross.
gross.
I
yeah,
hate it.
so that's what I feel like. Tomic is the kind of guy who, if he saw at the Orzhov office, he saw somebody getting like flowers from his wife for Valentine's Day, he'd be like, "Pff, gay," right? You know?
Oh my gosh.
And then he goes home to his
that's
boyfriend, and you're just like,
weird.
"Damn it, Tomic."
Come on.
Yeah, that's the vibe.
I like how chat says Tomic will dump you just to have something to talk about at work.
Well,
And you know what? You right.
So
I hate
let's
to
swing that needle back in the opposite direction and talk about our sweet Golgari queen, Vraska.
Hot.
Extremely
hot.
Clearly hot. Dream wife.
hot.
Yeah.
Is are Masood and Carlos a no?
Masood? Carlos?
I
No.
don't like snakes. I don't know what to tell you. I don't like snakes. I don't like them. I just don't. Beautiful, great, like wonderful human being. Doesn't do anything for me.
She could put a bonnet on.
Okay.
Every other
She would
black
not,
queen
but
But
you
she
know.
wouldn't.
I
Yeah,
bet
you
she
know,
wouldn't.
Vraska would not cover up those snakes for somebody
She's
like
gotta go to
Masood.
sleep. She's gonna put a night bonnet on like every other black queen.
Oh, trust me, I know. Snakes are different than curls. Okay, they're not the same. You have different maintenance for each.
I disagree, even though I know you're right. Because could you imagine that shedding?
Well,
But
yeah, that's the thing
I
is
would
like,
still hit it.
do her, and this is getting into a more complicated thing that you would, if you ever asked Vraska, she would just kill you for asking. But like, yeah, do you think that her head tails as they grow, they shed and they've stopped now? Like, are they like fingers or are they like hair and that they will just continue to grow and shed? Because I've never seen a Gorgon in Magic art with like a massive amount of snakes. Like older
Right.
Gorgons, I think, have the same amount snake wise. So I don't think they get any bigger than Vraska's got there. So I don't think they shed any more. Probably when you're a kid, though, you know, as they're growing. Yeah, that'd be so gross. Because
But that's a
scrub off the
long-term
skin.
relationship question.
Still
We're
hot.
talking
We're talking about
Friday
hot.
night.
Yeah.
You meet her at a bar.
I'll be honest. Still no.
Okay. Well, all right.
Carlos, you seem
in
very
this-
pensive.
Carlos
right
is on
now.
the fence on this one.
And I'll give some time to Carlos to think about it because I would be scared and intimidated by the snakes to the point where I was just like inapproachable and therefore not hot.
Yeah.
You know, fair.
Are they snakes or just tentacles?
They're
They look
snakes.
They're the tails
snakes.
of snakes.
Yeah, so in Ravnica, Gorgons, their hair is, instead of being like Medusa where they end with a snake head, her head is the head of many snakes that grow out of the back of her.
Okay.
So my question, my entire vote hinges on this one thing.
Perfect.
Right.
Good.
Uh-huh.
Ready.
Can she control the snake?
Yes, absolutely.
hot.
They're
She's happening.
Nice.
they're
Nice.
prehensile
She's
for
hot.
sure.
That's all I
I never respected you more than I did right now.
Good. I'm glad that we can all agree on this very important thing that Vraska, Queen of the Golgari, is hot. If this were about more than pure physical attractiveness, she would definitely lose like a full solid point from me for having dated Jace.
Yes.
That immediately would bring her down.
That's in the past.
There's a
Is
lot
it
of
though?
complicated. Well, exactly, right? Vraska and Jace have not
Masood.
reunited. The thing is, in the canon, Jace goes to Ixalan and loses his memory, and then he and Vraska fall in love or whatever, and they're pirates together. Then he recovers his memory and they break up. And I can only assume they break up because his memory coming back reminds him of what a douchebag he is.
Yeah.
And then he goes back to being regular Jace, which, you know, I feel like that gives some points back, but still.
Don't worry, Vraska. I don't care about your past, baby.
Do you believe that Adam, just to hurt us, is going to make Vraska and Jace get back together this episode?
Yeah. So
Swear
the
to
episode
God.
begins and you see Vraska and Jace and they're making out. It's the worst shit
Hate
ever.
this more than it.
I'm crying. I'm just sobbing. It's the first tears shed on Jace Beleren Must Die.
Everyone on the street is throwing up.
All right, so let's do one that I think is going to be a little more complicated. Now we don't know him very well, but it's time to branch out of our human territory. Niv Mizzet, hot or not?
right.
What kind of dragon?
So he's the smartest. Let me give you the pitch, right? He's the Perun of the Izzet League, which means
care
he
about
is
that.
tens of thousands of years old, massively influential. He's
That
the
helps.
smartest. He's the
Experience.
literally the smartest person in all of Ravnica. Incredibly powerful.
Okay.
He's been around forever. Lots of relationship experience. Everybody. He is a passionate researcher, a wizard, a scientist.
Okay.
Niv Mizzet, super huge dragon. Oh yeah, that's the other thing is he's also like 60 feet long. So
Yeah.
he's the only creature in all of Dungeons and Dragons that can cast 2 spells in 1 turn. So if that's your fetish, then
Wow.
Kind of hot.
it is
That's
pretty
the
hot.
only.
Yeah.
That's
That is
the
kinda
only
hot.
thing you kind of turned it around with.
Well,
Wow.
let me check
okay.
because some dragons can shapeshift. Let me see if old Niv
Who-
here can take a
Ooh.
human form.
Who voices Niv Mizzet in the movie?
James Earl Jones.
Oh.
Hot.
Or no, James Earl Jones.
Mm,
But like now,
What?
like kind of old gravelly James Earl Jones.
yes, hot.
Still hot. Yeah.
He can indeed cast the polymorph spell, so he could polymorph himself or
Yo.
you into anything either of you wanted.
Don't change yourself, Niv. Put me in your giant mouth. You are hot.
Are we gonna play Dungeons and Dragons today?
This is it. This is what's happening.
I just want to imagine being the little spoon with Niv Mizzet. That's it.
Please don't
He is a gargantuan creature, which I believe means he's 5 squares by 5 squares or 6 squares by 6. That's right. He can concentrate on 2 spells at
5 by
once.
5.
He can concentrate on
My
2 spells at
body
once,
can
which
fit
means
inside your mouth.
he can polymorph you and himself, and you can act out whatever weird fantasies you want. So if you want to be Liliana and you want to have
Yes.
sex with Vraska, but secretly have sex with Niv Mizzet as Vraska, you could do that. That's possible. Anything is possible in Niv Mizzet's magical
I
steam.
can't believe this conversation
So-
dropped my internet out.
I will say, I'm gonna hit you with one downside of Niv Mizzet. He's also the world's biggest steampunk aficionado. So you know that his apartment is just full of miscellaneous gears.
Yeah.
He has an
I don't
Etsy
know. He's
store
got
where
a
he
big-
makes
Wait.
weird leather work.
No, we
He's got a big
talked about
apartment.
personality not being a
Yeah.
factor. We
Yeah, that's
discussed
not a
this
factor.
explicitly.
Okay. All right.
I don't want to know how many fedoras he owns. Let's just move on.
I
Right.
don't
So
want to see
Yeah.
gears on his belt or anything.
Yeah,
like
I don't want to
Purely-
hear about how many times he's unironically said "milady."
Niv Mizzet definitely refers to certain women as milady. Yeah.
Ugh, no.
But he
Probably
was alive.
Asperia.
He was alive for that time. So,
Yeah, you can't hold that against him.
But
true.
also, I'm kind of okay for James Earl Jones saying "milady" to me. It's misgendering, but it's also a little hot.
All right. So final votes on Niv Mizzet. I'm gonna go ahead and say not hot for me. We got a hot
Oh,
from.
so you're the tiebreaker. Oh, well, you've made it pretty clear.
Yeah.
And what I have to say, I'm a little surprised. Niv Mizzet, according to the cast of Jace Beleren Must Die, hot
Hot.
is hot.
Hot.
Excellent. All right, we got 2 more. I know your vote on this one, Katie May. Prime Speaker Vanifar. She's semi-transparent. She is an elf. She's got tentacles. She's probably a little bit slimy all over. Prime Speaker Vanifar, hot or not hot?
Hot.
hot.
I also say hot. That is my vote too.
TK,
You're
if
hot.
you call her not hot, I'm gonna
I don't
come to your
know.
house.
It's
and
hard for me to
Same.
tell because I can't really see her face.
Have you ever been?
Does she have tattoos on her face?
She does. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, hot.
I was gonna say, have you ever been sexually attracted to a bowl of Jello with like
No.
a picture of Kate Beckinsale taped to it?
Ooh, Kate Beckinsale for me is a no. Sorry. I know I'm like the only human in the world that feels that
No,
way.
she looks like.
But the
I don't
face
know.
tattoos.
I was getting
Yes, I agree.
Orphan Black. Who's the?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Orphan
yeah.
Black. That's the vibe I'm getting.
Also,
Oh, she is hot.
I think
her
she is hot.
collar is a part of her body. Like
Yeah,
that
I believe
doesn't come off.
that is like a Dilophosaurus style frill that comes out of her collarbone. Yeah.
I feel like she would hurt
Can you
me.
believe that Rode decided to be a jellyfish just because she thought Vanifar was hot? Because I can.
Vanifar is pretty close to Yennefer,
What's
and
that?
I'm okay
What's
with
that, Vanifar? You really like My Chemical Romance? Weird. I just got this My Chemical Romance tattoo. Yeah. I also love them.
It's like, I just got it on the inside of my bicep.
Well, TK, we know you work out.
You work out, TK. God.
Masood, please. It's all I have.
Stop treating your body like a vape and impressing us with it. So where do we land on Vanifar? Yes, hot. We got a hot for Vanifar.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I think we are in agreement on that one. Cool. All
that.
right. Finally,
Before you even ask, no.
the Planeswalker we're probably the most familiar with.
We're not going to talk about who's the giant sphinx that got turned to stone. Is she no longer?
Hey, respect the dead. We don't hot or not the dead.
Respect the
Right?
dead.
Okay.
Too soon,
Dead
Masood.
hot.
Sorry.
Dead hot.
He's an authoritarian Kaladeshi. He has an extra finger, wink wink. He has perfect recall and values nothing more than everything being just so. The embodiment of lawful neutrality. It's Dovin Ban, hot or not.
So I know this is going to sound really weird, but I'm getting like some Hellraiser vibes on him, and that makes it
You think he has such
That makes
marvelous
sense for
sights
you.
to show
that,
you?
That tracks for you.
I know. It's the cheekbones. Like he looks like hooking up with him would kill me emotionally and spiritually.
He probably feels like a sack of remote controls.
If I had to describe the way
Not
that
very
I
cuddly,
the
not
way that I
very
imagine Dovin Ben has sex, it's efficiently. Right? Like he schedules 2.8
Dovin
minutes for
Ban-
intercourse
Yeah.
every day to maintain
Dovin
the
Ban-
relationship.
Yeah, he looks like embracing him is like holding a skin sack full of battle bots.
Yeah.
Looks like fucking what's his face and was the really bad sci-fi movie Jupiter
Yes.
Ascending.
Oh, the bad guy?
Yeah, Eddie Redmayne.
He
Eddie
does-
Redmayne and Jupiter Ascending.
Yes, that's what he looks like. Or like
Honestly,
like a
I think-
Hellraiser bad guy.
I think that's
I'm
a
like,
pretty good casting for Dovin Ban. Eddie Redmayne, but
see
with a
it.
bald
Oh
cap
no,
and
if
painted
it's
blue.
Eddie Redmayne, I don't want it.
But just based purely on this, I mean, he does have good cheekbones, but he has those weird beady pink eyes. So
Oh, I know, right?
he's got nice lips. Like he's got big full lips, but like
There is
his
something
weird
about him
cop
that
eyes.
makes me like if he were dressed as Thrawn, I'd just be like, you're right.
I feel like telling a Vidalcan to dress up as Grand Admiral Thrawn might be a little bit racist, DK.
I don't care. And you know what? He doesn't care either because he's made of paper.
So he's just showing off his pinky, right? Because I'm holding
Yes.
this in my hand,
Yeah.
and I'm like, this is unnatural to hold
Yeah.
something like this.
Yeah.
Like, he's definitely like, hey,
There was
I-
definitely a note in the art instructions for this piece to be like,
Yeah.
make sure we can see his extra finger. Just
Honestly,
make sure it's in there.
If I had to guess, they drew him normally and then we're like, fuck. This is his
Shit, it's
finger.
Dovin Ban. Give him another finger.
He's showing off his hand dexterity, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
If you got it, flaunt it.
He also has a really long neck. I didn't notice that before, but like
yeah,
he's got a very long neck. I don't know if that's a Vidalcan thing or if that's just a Dovin Ban thing, but
I think that's an art thing.
I'm gonna
I think
go-
that's a we want to show off this collar thing.
yeah, well, he's supposed to look a little bit alien too, right? Like he's not even a Ravnican Vidalcan, so
Honestly, he kind of looks like an Andalite too, and the 13-year-old
That's true.
in me is titillated.
yes, slap a couple of little antennas on top of his head. Yeah. Well,
it's a knot for me.
it's a not for Carlos. Yeah, Katie May, not
Yeah.
hot for Dovin Ban. TK, what do you think? Dovin Ban,
It's
hot
a
or not?
hot from me because
Uh-huh.
I love to suffer.
Sure, fair.
TK
good.
loves cops. You heard it here first.
Masood, what about you? What do you think? Hot or not? Dovin Ban.
May.
Not hot.
Sorry. I will have to agree. Dovin Ban, definitely not hot for me.
Actually,
TK's
if
gonna
like
kick my ass.
I swear to God, if like we hooked up and he made me get like a thin blue line sticker or something, that's a not hot.
the thing is, I don't Dovin Ban, like I don't think for him, I think a relationship would purely be based on like practicality. Like
Yeah.
you do it for a reason.
He has a very like Thanos energy to him that I am
There's a non-zero.
Into.
There's a non-0% chance the Dovin band would either form or get attached to like one of those awful pickup artist groups where he's like, yes, there is an efficient
No.
way to perform romance.
Stop it. I hate
These are the
this.
ways that we do it. Step 1, introduce yourself to the female. Step 2, like, you know that's the other thing is he calls women females. So
Yeah.
just don't let him talk and it'll be the best 2.6 minutes of your life.
I noticed that
you know
there are
what?
some people.
2.6 minutes. I'm into it.
All right.
There are some people in the sport that we didn't do hot or not rankings for.
Oh, really? where would
Who do we miss?
Whoever
maybe
could
the
it be?
titular, maybe the primary cast of Jace Beleren Must Die.
Oh.
Ooh.
Ooh, tough.
I think we should do this because
Feels
I already
bad,
know my
man.
answers. I think that this is reasonable. Now remember, we're not talking about whether or not the cast themselves are hot because obviously we all are. Clearly.
We're all tens.
Yeah, exactly.
Next.
But
Yeah, listen up, fives.
now as yourself, as a person,
5 tens are speaking.
let's write the meters count out. We're at 50 out of 50 here.
You got 50 on your face right now. Shut the fuck up and open your ears, stupid.
Good stuff. So,
10 of you.
Oh yeah.
So let's start with Torgor. So let's see Torgor. Selling points: very tall, strong, sensitive Minotaur. Might have a bit of a wandering eye. You know you're not going to be Torgor's only
I'm cool with
only
that. That's fine.
hangout. Yep. Is
This is
apparently
the thing,
writing a
though.
play, so that's either a good or a bad point for you.
Ooh.
So depending.
Incessantly plays the lute.
Yeah, badly. Yeah.
Getting better though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna stop defending. I'm gonna
Yeah, so is the dude who has the guitar in the quad, but like
True. Does definitely have
true.
Wonderwall vibes. But yeah, huge gold necklace though. That's also good. So
oh yeah, the bling. Would probably defend me in this fight, but might also expect me to defend myself.
Should we like 3, 2, 1, thumbs up, thumbs down? Is that what we should do?
I think
Yeah.
that's
Do it
I
all
think
at
that's
once.
reasonable.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you want me to
I'll
count?
call it.
The problem is
Adam,
that
you can call it.
there's a slight
Masood
delay.
can-
So this is
Masood
going to
can-
be
I'll count.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, look
All
at
right,
that.
unanimous hot.
What a bunch of supportive nerds we are. Unanimously decided Torgor, yes, hot. Well, no wonder. I mean, Torgor gets all the attention. The NPCs know that Torgor is hot too. They know.
Yeah.
They know it.
Plus, he's got street cred.
Yes. Yeah. Wanted. He's got the death sentence in 12 systems.
He's a soldier, ain't afraid to stand up for me.
All right. Road Medusa. So, high acrobatic skill. Wink, wink. Tentacles might be good, might be bad. I don't know. Very flexible. She is a monk.
Always make sure that she's the one to turn the lights out so you don't have to get up and do it.
Mhm. Extremely cruel. Disloyal. Mild drinking problem, maybe major drinking problem, depending on your perspective.
Doesn't pay for her own drinks.
Kind of has
That's
like
a Bob
a
haircut.
like hot librarian vibe, right? Like does the whole taking off her glasses and shaking her hair like she's in a shampoo commercial thing, and then you're
But
like,
also like a little
Has
mean
a
of a
weird
she's very
librarian.
mean.
power-
Yes, yeah,
Which is like-
definite mean girl for sure.
Has a
Into.
weird powder blue apartment.
Right? Is
You don't know that yet.
pretending to be
Sorry.
a lawyer, but yeah. All right. I know my answer. I'm ready to vote on
Count it out.
road. Yeah,
I'll call it.
You gotta
Okay.
do it. Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1, vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nerds!
Yeah.
I already know the direction this is taking, and I hate it, but I also love it.
No, you might,
Oh,
TK,
no.
you might be surprised. Well, let's go to Kat.
I will say this.
This is looking like 3 unanimous hots.
I was about to say
not, and I'm okay with
if
it.
we engineered this bit, the funniest thing to happen would be everyone is hot, then we get to winning her, and we all just
You're all just missing thumbs.
like, I can't
Because
anymore.
No one noticed.
Oh man.
Yep. This is a future crime we've just committed against Carlos. All right, so selling points for our little murder hobo, the littlest murder hobo, in fact. Good with a melon baller. Only about knee high. Well connected parent wise. She's terrifying temper, but probably will do their worst things away from you where you can't see them. So they're polite that way. Probably either totally ride or die, or they'll kill you and bury you in a pile of garbage and then burn your house down. One or the other. It's a dangerous pick. So voting for Tack, hot or not.
All right,
Okay.
I'll count it down.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, vote.
Oh,
This is delightful. Thanks, guys.
For a moment,
because like I've never done it in an alley before.
Yeah, right.
It's the best.
I've never been robbed in an alley, and I've never done in an alley, and I think I can check both of those off at the same time.
Yeah, you could get both. Absolutely. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
I'm a thumbs up in a way that like I need to make a few bad decisions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, all right.
I guarantee you were on your way.
Rounding out the list, we have Vinegar. So,
Hey guys, what are you playing?
so here's what we know about Vinegar: notorious child murderer, cannot keep a friend for more than a session or two. Obsessed with ornithopters, and regularly
Daddy issues.
pretends to be someone else's boyfriend so they can make out with them.
Okay, so let's talk about on the surface. Actually goes to work. Has his own apartment, no roommates, and doesn't stay with a parent, and didn't have their work pay for it.
Yep.
Maybe made a robot girlfriend.
Maybe made a robot girlfriend, but obviously it never got physical.
Yes, it happened, Carlos. Did
When
you
did that
forget you
happen?
made a robot girlfriend?
Yeah, she made you sandwiches. It's very sweet.
So
Or no, sandwich reminders.
let me point out that because as the Dungeon Master, this is my job, from a statistical point of view, technically Vinegar is the most charismatic member of the party.
Oh yeah.
Highest charisma stat of everyone in the party.
What the fuck?
The most mechanically hot of everyone.
Consistently been the one to care the most about other people when they're in his life.
Joke's on you guys. Vinegar can't fuck. So-
He's a Ken doll. Don't even ask about it.
First of all, I think it's sad that you're that narrow-minded about what a human body needs to be sexual.
What of a doll can body needs?
Oh man.
It's true, Your Honor. This man has no dick.
Always keeps an open tab at the dessert place. So.
And is also recently getting an edge on him.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I do kind of like dark
Right.
Vinegar is starting to come up. I'm ready.
Yeah.
All right, count us in, Carlos.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
No, I'm kidding.
So we're tied. And I think lukewarm is a fitting. It's a fitting degree. I'm gonna award to Vinegar the. No one can decide.
Plus, like, I like bald guys, so it goes great. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I just think almost everybody except nice people are hot.
So I don't know if people who are watching this know this, but there's actually a section in the Dungeon Master's Guide that says that you have to do this every 30 or so episodes. You have to go through all the NPCs in your game and decide whether they're hot or not. It's not an optional rule. If you haven't been doing this in your campaigns, you've been playing Dungeons and Dragons wrong. Take it from me. I've read the Dungeon Master's Guide.
And we're sorry that we got to it so late. You know, we're on episode 40
Yeah,
now.
we
We should
should've-
have done it sooner.
Yeah. But it's good to have that finally sorted out. I feel like relieved. I feel good about that.
Oh man, I forgot he has a podcast. That definitely would have been a nod.
Oh yeah.
He has cards for his podcast too. that he hands out.
We should probably play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. We should. We should definitely do that. So
What's that?
let's-
I thought
yeah,
we were
let's-
just
let's
gathering for some
You know
fun or
what?
not.
There are many different ways to play Dungeons and Dragons. The experience is a myriad of different ways to express itself, and for us, this is how that goes. So
Gary's hot. Don't ask
Gary is
Chad.
hot. There's
Gary
no
is
question.
not.
Gary is hot.
Gary is
Never
not
mind.
hot.
There's a question, but not for most of us.
Gary's
Yeah.
4/5 hot. Yeah. By consensus. Yeah.
No,
Cool.
It's too nice. I don't like it.
So as I mentioned in the pre-show, the recap music that we'd be playing during the previously on bit would be Cop Killer by Ice-T, because that's what happened last time. There were several Azoria senators who were trying to arrest Rourke for some future crime, and you interrupted that process and freed Rourke, who is now being taken back to the Host in the Shell by road, I believe. Tak and Torgor, you stayed behind. Torgor, as we come back in on the scene, your bonds are kind of like fading as the cop has run away far enough that you've lost her. And Winnegar is sneaking through the junkyard, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the plan. All right, cool. So let's start with Winnegar and Tak, because the two of you are still outside the junkyard fence, and I think that Tak, you stayed behind to keep an eye on Torgor. So Torgor, the magic is starting to fade. You can start moving again. You feel the paralysis fading away. So what are the two of you going to do?
So I stayed back to keep an eye on Torgor, but also once I found out I couldn't help him and he couldn't move, I just like drew mustaches and stuff on him.
Nice. Nice.
Pretty hecking great. Now he can move and I'm just not going to say anything.
Okay. Yep.
Did I make it into the building? Did I make it into Rourke's
I think you did.
little office?
Oh, through his like electric fence.
You made an Arcana roll. I
Yeah,
don't know
the
if that-
notes say yes, you entered the office.
Okay.
Yeah. So you were in, because he's got his it's like every junkyard on TV ever, right? It's just like kind of little mountains of Is It stuff. It's a steampunk junkyard, and it's full of
the
mountains
notes-
of broken Is It stuff, and then there's Rourke's house/office, this little shack. His Airstream trailer. That's right.
Cool.
The
I wanna
notes
take a
also
look
say
around
that
his
you
office.
found a necklace of fireballs as well. So
Hey.
I don't.
So
I
yeah.
want to take a look around the office and see what, because I imagine he was interrupted. So maybe he had stuff out, or maybe I don't know if they turned his office, like if they.
Yeah.
ransacked it.
So you come in. So we have you like opening the door and coming into the office. And yeah, I mean, you've been in here a bunch of times, right? Like it has that distinct, a person lives here and there's not a lot of ventilation smell to it. It's Rourke assured you that there was a system to how it was structured, and there might well be, but to you, because you don't understand that system, it looks like the interior is just total chaos. It looks like Rourke was in the middle of something. His work desk at the back, because he's a bit of a tinker and he likes to repair stuff. It looks like he's in the middle of a project. There's some stuff out on the table. There's a blueprint pinned up on the board, the corkboard in front of him, and he was sorting junk into two piles. There's a barrel with a bunch of reject stuff in it, and then there's another pile with still like mostly undamaged components, but at a glance it's hard to say what he's working on.
Okay. I want to go through like the undamaged stuff, see if there's anything I can like take with me or something I might find useful.
Sure. Yeah, you can make an investigation check.
Cool.
The junkyard didn't catch fire, right?
Right.
We're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And if it did, you're in the best neighborhood for spontaneous junkyard fires. The Is It have a great fire department.
Oh my God.
Usually that means they light things on fire, but that's all right. So a 14. Okay. So yeah, what do you want to know? You're just looking for valuable
Something that,
stuff.
Something that I might either valuable or something that I might find useful that I can use in my missions.
Okay.
One of those two things.
Yeah, I think he's clearly going through and he's not stripping things for parts, right? He's not like you've seen, you know what it looks like when you take something like a broken experiment or a piece of tech and they strip out all the misium and they strip out any like other valuable stuff from it and then make a little pile of that. It's not that. He's not trying to break this stuff. He's looking for components. So the things in the junk are like disassembled, but it looks like he's pulling specific parts out of them. And so what's on the table are a bunch of more delicate and more expensive components, including a few like Mizium valves and some other pieces like that. And then on the left, on the other side, there is a crate of like maybes, basically, that it looks like he's brought in from the. He's going through those. So those little pieces on their own, like you could resell them or you could use them for experiments, but there's another role here if you want to figure out what he was doing.
Yeah, I want to try to figure out what he was doing then.
Okay. So yeah, that'll be Arcana. There you go. I was like, I hope that 3 is the second roll. Okay, so you get an 18. All right. So it looks like the blueprints that he's been given are, if you read the text on them, they're definitely stolen. First of all, so they have that watermark on them, like eyes only, do not remove from archives, property of the Izzet League. This is a document that has been stolen from the whatever the pyromancy branch of the Izzet League is called, like the Pyrotechnicians Union or whatever. And it's a sub blueprint. It's not, here's the whole thing. It's like Project 257-B as part of a larger thing. So it looks like what, at a glance, what he's making or trying to make is he's finding the parts for some kind of control valve or like a pump mechanism to block and unblock the flow of mana charged fluid. It's some kind of hydraulics project. And it's part of a larger thing. So it's like he's building a mana pump for another thing. It's going to be installed into a different project when it's done.
What would like how rare or how weird is it to see something like this? Like what would like someone in the Izzet League's reaction to that be? Like, whoa, this isn't allowed, or this is allowed, or
So what is or isn't allowed in the league is pretty irrelevant. Like as long as you don't get the league in trouble or interrupt. I mean, even in Ravnica, guild profit is the letter of the law. Like murder's not technically illegal in Ravnica because it's not about the value of life or whatever. It's like who are you costing money? Like what guild are you offending with your crimes? So in this case, the thing that you'd be taken aback by is the theft from the archive. It says right on it, do not remove from the archives. And like it shouldn't be here, right? So either Rourke found it or somebody stole it and gave it to him or something. But yeah, he shouldn't have it. It shouldn't be here.
Cool. I'm gonna take those.
Okay.
And then whatever little trinkets I can like carry in my pockets that might be up for resale later.
The parts that he's managed to scavenge, it's just a little like a cigar box worth.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, because basically he's taking big machines, breaking them down, digging through them, and then being like, boink, here's the tiny little piece of plutonium or whatever I need, and puts it in the bucket.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you close that little box, tuck it in your bag, and fold up the blueprints and put those away. Underneath the blueprints. So on the wall, the corkboard in front of him, you pull it and pull the blueprints down. Underneath, because you just put it up over top of some other stuff, there's some miscellaneous like invoices and like things he needed to remember and contracts and stuff. And down at the bottom, there's a pinned photograph of Rourke and Winnegar, and Rourke has his arm around you, and the two of you are like posing, and you remember it. It was the day that Rourke got his junkyard dog, his puppy. And so he's got this puppy under one arm. The puppy has little spines running down the back of it, and it's like this orange color. And he was so proud of this dog. And the two of you took a photo together on this camera that he had scavenged. And there's the two of you like in this picture on the board.
They're wearing shirts with arrows. Yeah. And the puppy and Rourke's have arrows pointing like I'm what's stupid. And it's pointing to Winnegar, and Winnegar's shirt says, it's an arrow pointing up and it says, I am stupid.
I'm stupid. Yeah.
They just thought it was so funny.
And I love the idea that it's like you're wearing your normal clothes, but you have a t-shirt on that's too big and you've just pulled it over your normal clothes and it just like comes down to your knees.
Yeah, like little bumps and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're wearing it over your backpack because it's this big moo and just says "I'm stupid." And then Rourke, yeah, awesome. Yeah, so you see that little photo tucked into the corner of the board underneath the plans as you pull them down.
I'm gonna pull it down, fold it up, and like put it inside my sleeve.
Your gauntlet, yeah, you tuck it in there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So while you're doing that, Torgor, you're recovering from paralysis. There's a dead Azorius lawmate just laying in the street bleeding. Everyone has run. They've all fled the neighborhood, and there's a destroyed ornithopter, and the other cop got away. Tack is there with you. It's raining as always. What are you gonna do? What are the two of you doing?
Well, I mean, we should leave, right?
Tack smacks your face really hard.
Oh, I'm not. There was no need for that. I literally just.
I just want to check and see if it, I was just checking. I was just making sure that you're like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, where's Winnegar? Let's just get out of here. But because.
Oh, Winnegar.
Did I see where Winnegar went?
No. And when the chaos started, Winnegar disappeared.
Okay.
Ugh. I don't know. He's probably dead.
No, I mean, knowing him, he probably headed back to the host in the shell anyways. So we should double back anyways and figure out what he was even in trouble for.
Oh, did Rourke make it out?
And Tack starts looking around.
Yeah, Road has disappeared as well.
Yeah.
As the two of you are looking around, you hear in the distance a loud like bell sound. You've heard it before. It is the like air raid siren of the Azorius Senate, right? So you hear this bell go off, and then you hear a voice, and it's broadcasting simultaneously from the entire ornithopter network in this area. So you hear Dovin Band's voice broadcast over all of these little teeny like speakers, and they merge together under the sound of the rain. So everyone in the district can hear it. You hear, this precinct is closed under Azorius orders. No one is to leave or enter. Everyone, please stay where you are and await processing. And we see in the sky all these tiny lights as the ornithopters like put on their spotlights, and they start basically just coming forward in a wave, and each ornithopter flies down and pins anybody who's still out in the street, pins them in a spotlight and tells them like, please wait here for an arrestor. You will be processed momentarily. So they've just closed the precinct and are just holding everybody for questioning. The thing is, when you're Dovin Band, you can hold multiple conversations at once through your drones. And he also has drone operators and stuff that are harassing people. So they're on their way. It's probably a good time to dip.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
We gotta go.
Let's go.
Oh man, it's too bad the person who makes us virtually invisible has gone already.
Let's see. Do I have? I believe I still have spell slot, like one spell slot left. Do I have any magic that'll help us? Nope, probably not. Okay.
Yeah,
Neat.
Bards, not known for being quiet and sneaky.
What are our options?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, you can.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that.
I mean, it's good to think about these things instead of just acting. So, the district itself, or the precinct, they are erecting borders around it, basically saying like, nobody leave. This area is closed. So you can try to escape by way of the street because they need to set up a lot of these barriers. You could try to slip into the underground, right? Go into the Golgari underground. That might be an option, but that place is a little tense right now too.
Yeah, it is.
But if we go into the Golgari underground, we might not get arrested for killing a cop. We just get arrested for being Golgari.
And that's honestly
kind of better.
Definitely better.
Yeah.
And we don't have any. Our Azorius Senate member is no longer here, so yeah. Let's head underground if need be. I can also.
We're in an alleyway, right?
I can take us to Rick's Mahdi, but you gotta play it cool, okay?
I'm always cool.
No, I know, but like, you can't be cooler than me. That's the like. Remember what happened with the kerfuffle? Like, you're gonna be a big hit, and I don't. I have cred that I can't lose right now.
And like, while he is telling Tack all of that, Tack is like trying to pry up like a sewer grate or something. Like, is there
really
like
struggling.
a grate or something?
Did Winnegar hear the air raid sirens?
Yes, yeah. I think muted, but inside, yeah. Winnegar would
Okay.
have heard those as well. Yeah. I mean, I imagine that there's access. If you know where to look, there's access points to the Golgari Underground everywhere, right?
Cool.
That's the whole point of the Underground.
I just
So-
want to make sure that I'm not like being presumptuous and just placing one in the middle of the street.
No. Yeah,
Okay.
this would be one of those things where if we were playing a game that used like story points or something, I could be like, yeah, spend one, and then there can be one. But I think it makes logical sense because that's sort of the whole point of the Underground is that
Yeah.
you can get there from anywhere and you can get to anywhere from there. So yeah, I think you find a great. Maybe it's like one of those delivery doors to a now defunct bar or something, and so you pull it open. How do you recognize the difference between like a manhole and an entrance to the Underground? Like, is there I'm thinking about like hobo code. Is there a Golgari like?
Yeah, I like
marking
to think that's where my
system?
thieves' cant comes in.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, so there's like you look around and yeah, maybe you see like a regular manhole or whatever. And you're like, nah, not that. And then you look over and you see the like a marking on the edge of this little cellar
Yeah.
door.
Yeah, there's
okay.
probably we probably have ones for like fences. We probably have one for like body shoots.
Right.
It's like
yeah.
you don't want this one in processing.
This one is for people.
type
This
of
one is
stuff.
for corpses. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So you don't accidentally go down the corpse one. You don't
Yeah.
dump a dead body on somebody. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you find an exit path out of here. And while the two of you are clambering down, Winnegar, you hear the sirens. What are you gonna do?
That's what he does. He goes,
Oh boy.
Vinegar this one out. I'm gonna. So, have they surrounded the entire junkyard, or are they just in the front, like making their way?
So if you looked at the precinct from above, it would have like the Azorius kind of like command overlay. Like if you're watching it from one of the drone operators. So we see the district and it has a blue line all the way around it, indicating that it's been shut down. And then we see a grid, a perfect hexagonal grid of interconnected ornithopters, and they're just sweeping the precinct. So we can see this blue cloud kind of spreading out, but they haven't reached the junkyard yet.
Okay. I'm going to use my last spell slot and cast invisibility.
Yep.
Hop out of the way I came in
Mhm.
and make a run for it.
Excellent.
I think I would start by going back to the front where my friends were to see if I can see them. And if I don't, head back to hosting the show.
Okay, sure. All right, so you cast invisibility. We cut from Winnegar incanting the spell, and you cast it, and then we cut to outside, and we see the door open, and then we hear the like very obvious Foley, like thunk 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 of you walking down the steps, and then we see the footprints in the mud, like so that we know that Winnegar is invisible and escaping. Yeah, and you don't see Tak and Torgor. They've slipped into the underground before.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm gonna head out.
Okay. All right. So you're going to head and you're just going to use the street and your invisibility and try to keep ahead of the ornithopters.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah. So you start heading towards the host road. I think when we cut to you are just ahead of the it's not quarantine. What's I don't know what they would call it when you perimeter. Yeah. Like that line, you're ahead of it. So you look behind you and you see these ornithopters, they come flying down, and I think that they transform. So their wings retract and they basically become pylons. And then between them, a wall of light springs up and is flickering in this bluish white color. And they literally like block off the road with these ornithopter posts, but you're just on the other side of it. Yeah.
Oh no.
I think the word I was looking for was blockade, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you're outside the blockade. You've slipped out, but you don't know where your friends are. You've got this very heavy like junk merchant who is unconscious that you're dragging.
He's unconscious?
Yeah, because wasn't he knocked out? No, he was
I don't
paralyzed,
think
right?
so.
Yeah, because I was gonna say
he still had his handcuffs on.
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah. Okay. So he's not saying anything. I think he's just like panicked, and he's a dead weight in that regard. But yeah, I think he just looks at you like he doesn't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, we're just gonna get you to safety and then we're gonna go from there, bud. But for now, be quiet. And I'm just pushing him to the host in the shell.
Okay. Yeah. So you just leave. So how are you going to get him there? Because the host is pretty far away. Normally you could just take the train, but he's got handcuffs on. So
I do have pass without a trace up. How far away am I?
if you take the train, you're maybe like a 20-minute ride from here.
And if
Call
I
Uber X.
walk,
If you walk, it's probably like 2 hours. It's a long way.
ooh,
Yeah.
ugh. You know, a 2-hour walk never hurt anybody, but I'm worried that if I'm gone for 2 hours, everyone else is gonna do some interesting things that I'm worried about.
Well, and if they're looking for Rourke, then and they don't find
Yeah.
him in that precinct, they'll expand the search, right? They'll go out looking for him.
Okay, well, I have a somewhat Azorius background, and by that I mean a definite Azorius background. When it comes to these handcuffs, what do I know about getting them off?
I'm a legal aid in pretend. I can take off handcuffs.
I went through cop training. I went through cop training. Before I bailed.
guess. Yeah. So generally, the acceptable way to get a pair of handcuffs off is with a key.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they're shackles, right? They're metal rings bound together, and I think they're just like his hands are locked together. There's no chain between them. So he's got his hands kind of like locked like this, and awkwardly in front of him. And yeah, there's a lock. You'd put a key in and twist it. You might be able to like pick the lock, or not you, but Tack probably could try to pick the lock. You could
Tack
maybe
could do
try to like karate chop them really hard and break them open, but you might also break both of Rourke's wrists.
I do have thieves' tools now.
Okay, yeah.
I am.
That's true. Yeah, you do have the skill now. And do you have thieves' tools on you?
I do.
Okay, sure. You got them tucked into your power suit.
Yes. The lapel pocket, just like. All right.
She has them disguised as a manicure kit.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, that's exactly what it is.
That's really
That's
good.
so good.
I like that.
Thank
All right,
you.
here we go.
All right, so you want to try to pick the locks?
Yes, and I got a 23.
Not bad. Ooh. Okay. Yeah. So you're in an alley, and you can hear the sound of the bells going off, and Rourke just kind of like does what you say, or he just puts his hands out, and you get the lock picks. You come in, and after a couple of minutes, you manage to catch the mechanism, and the shackles pop open and fall off. And
we used to have a hazing game where we would get really drunk, and then it would be whoever could get out of the handcuffs first would win. I always won. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And as Rourke does the contractually obligated rub your wrists after you get the handcuffs taken off thing. Yeah, he looks at you kind of like, and he shakes his head, and he says, you can see him like decide not to ask any questions, where he's about to be like, all right, whatever. I'll just do whatever you say. I don't have a choice. And then the two of you, do you want to just leave the handcuffs laying on the ground, or do you take them with you?
I pocket them.
Yeah, okay.
And then I think I'll pass without a trace and take the train.
Okay, cool. All right. So the two of you disappear, head off for the train.
Mhm.
So Winnegar, you are invisible. So let's have you make a stealth roll with advantage, just to avoid being spotted. Ooh, not great.
Not great.
Okay.
10 and a 6. Okay.
Yeah, it's like, are those ornithopters heat seeking?
Right.
Predator style.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see if you get spotted. So they have disadvantage, but so 19. I got a 19. So yeah, definitely at one point. So when we cut back to a supposedly like a seemingly empty alley, and then we hear the like splashing sounds of footprints in a puddle, and we see Winnegar moving invisibly through the scene.
Jumping in puddles.
And then you come to a street which is clear, right? And there's, because this is the stealth sequence, right? So we see you start to go out into the street, and you pull back as the ornithopter goes by, and then you look, and I think when you try to go and run across this street, the ornithopter turns back around, and the headlight from the front of it drops on you, spotlights on you, and you see the invisibility spell like start to fade. Right, you see yourself appearing pinned in the spotlight, and you hear a voice, an artificial sounding voice, come from the ornithopter that says, "Stop right there." What do you do?
I would go. Oh man, this was the best puddle in the entire. Oh my god! And I'm gonna quickly. Oh my god, guys! If I get into a fight, I'm gonna die because I'm using all my spell slots. I'm in a dimension door, 500 feet ahead or in back or wherever I can escape, basically.
Yeah, so just like jump out of its spotlight and then run for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right. So yeah, the dimension door allows you to escape. So you start casting a spell, and the ornithopter says, "Stop that! Unauthorized spell casting!" And then you finish the spell. You disappear. You hear it say, "Target lost, searching," and it starts like looking around for you. You run for it. Make an athletics check, and then I will make a perception check.
When I think of athletics, I think of Winnegar. You got this, buddy.
Come on, my boy. Come on.
Okay.
I believe in
You can do
you.
it.
Track and field.
Hey, 13.
Yeah, that's
okay.
So you
you
run.
don't have to run very fast when you're a flying camera.
Yeah, exactly. So you run for it. You get around a corner. You're running down the alleys. You run past some garbage. You run past the obligatory like hobo in the pile of garbage. He's like, "Oh," and watches you run by. And then you bang up against that most impassable of barriers, a chain link fence.
Chain link fence.
Yeah, it's a double tall chain link fence at the end of an alley. There is a door, which of course a doorway in the chain. Of course you pull on it, it rattles. There's a lock, and the ornithopter like comes sweeping around the corner. It's at the other end of the alley. Again, it says, "Stop right there," and starts coming towards you. What are you gonna do?
Purple rain plays in the background.
Yeah, I mean it's raining all the time, so yeah, very good.
Oh god.
You're in a Michael Jackson video. What do you do?
So I could see it coming around the corner, or is it already?
Yeah, well, you're at the end of the hall, the end of the alley, and you see it come around the alley, and it's maybe like 80 feet ahead of you, coming towards you. And you're pinned in the spotlight like that one X-Men cover where they have the wanted poster. So there's this big ball of light and then darkness around you.
I'm not picturing this in the way that you're describing it. I'm picturing it in the way that Torgor will inevitably make their musical number about it.
I 100% see this as a like a Queen or a Michael Jackson video where he like throws his hand against the chain link fence. He like beats his fist against the fence in the time.
And he's wearing fingerless gloves and a leather jacket.
One fingerless glove.
He's got like a feather earring.
I like this cool George Michael version of Winnegar. Yeah, it's nice.
Do I have time to drop the plans that I stole?
Yeah, like throw them into the like the garbage or something.
Yeah, or under the garbage, or
right, like hide them so you can come back.
Yeah, basically that.
Yeah, sure.
Because Rourke just possibly could have gone to jail for this.
Yeah, no, they arrested Rourke for something, and Winnegar doesn't know this. They arrested Rourke for something that he hasn't done yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But for you, the assumption is like he stole something from the Izzet. They reported him, and that might be why. Yeah, okay. But yeah, I assume that the like cigar box of parts and the plans are in the box, and the box is closed with like a rubber band. So you can just like shove it under a pile of trash before the thing comes around the corner. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it's a classic 80s movie gambit that like hide the secret thing where no one will find it. So the ornithopter comes around the corner and flies towards you and pins you in the spotlight and says, "Citizen, you are under arrest for attempting to evade being under arrest. Follow this ornithopter and you'll be intercepted by law mages. Do not attempt to escape." And it basically like you see running lights appear like this way to justice, boop, 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 as it projects like a blue line on the ground for you to follow.
A thin blue line for you to follow.
Yeah.
God, what do I do, guys?
I mean, Dovin Band's your best bud, right? So if you end up back in
it's
jail,
your dad. Just go tell your
Yeah,
daddy
okay.
you're sorry.
I guess
do
so.
have-
Yeah.
Time to go see Daddy Dovin.
What you
I'm
also
sorry, daddy.
as like I was looking at like
What's that?
Demir spells because you are Demir now. Like you can
Yeah, don't you have
code
Demir
thoughts, so you could like read what's on the plans and then like pull the idea from your head. So you no longer know what it is, and then
Yeah.
hide that and then destroy the plan. So then you're like good in case you ever get interrogated.
I didn't
Put it in
know
a
that.
Coca-Cola.
yeah. So it's the plausible deniability spell, right? Where like a Manchurian candidate of the Demir will have their memories and thoughts just pulled out into a physical form, and then they don't remember anything they did, and they just send them back to go and collect more information.
Okay.
But yeah, you don't really have time for all that business right now.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
follow. I'm just gonna follow. I'm gonna be like, crap, and it's like
Yeah. So you
jump on every puddle. Angrily jump on the puddle.
This will teach you.
Your petulance has been noted, citizen. And so yeah, you walk off with the ornithopter, and we stay in the alley because if you're gonna throw me a softball, I'm gonna hit it as hard as I
Yeah.
can. So we stay in the alley, and we see, remember that hobo that we saw you run past? We see him come over, and he's got his big 80s movie hobo coat and his plastic shoes. And he comes over and he's like, what's, and he leans down and goes through the garbage, and we see him take out the cigar box and like rattle it and look at it like, and then tuck it into his coat and like waddle away. Yeah, and so we see,
he's gonna be in a tuxedo with a top hat and a cigar.
but still a big like scraggly beard and like, yeah.
He changed the timeline. I don't know how he did it.
Excellent. Yeah. So we'll go to break on that scene of the guildless hobo slipping away with your box of plans and parts. And we'll find out if Torgor and Tak manage to evade the long arm of the law when we get back. Don't go anywhere.